Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Thank you for tuning in live or listening into this presentation and a replay. This is 4 levels of trusteeship. The Vault, you're listening to the voice of Trust Christian doing this presentation on Sunday, June the 2nd. This is a public webinar, public training for our trustees to open up the floor for other families that would like to engage with us, families that reach out all the time asking, various different questions. So we're going to address who's ideal for trustee training. We've gone over this before. We're going to continue to go over it because people ask continuously, what is trustee training? What does the levels look like? And so we're going to go over that here today. So really excited about that. So once again, thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is Trust Christian. Thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay to this particular episode. So we're going to start out with what we're going over today, which is the competency hierarchy. Some people are familiar with this, some people are not. If you are, which most trustees at our senior level are, if you're not, the competency hierarchy is a framework for understanding the individual's proficiency and their skill level. It outlines the stages of development from beginner to master. It's a reference guide to professional and personal growth. The framework is applied once again in any field of endeavor, whether it's trusteeship or any field of endeavor. And this process also includes a process of self-analyzing. So you can listen and find out, what level are you at? This is what this is for. This is an educational webinar. You can feel free to reach out, Christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian@trustchristian.com. Yeah, you can feel free to reach out via email and we will correspond and we work with our families. And that's how we move forward. So look forward to hearing from you all. This presentation, is actually for levels 1 and 2. So if you're a trustee, you're looking to enroll in trustee training, we're going to go over who this is for. This is not for levels 3 and 4. It's only 4 levels. But today we're going to go over the levels of 1 and 2. First one is unconscious incompetence. This means that they don't know that they don't know. And a lot of people are at this level. They're not familiar with trusteeship. They're not familiar with making money, giving it away. They're not familiar with protecting assets fully. They're familiar with limited liability. They're only familiar with public. They're not familiar with private. This is what we can fill into this box. Are you having challenges thinking that your social security number is a trust? Okay, well, unconscious incompetence says, do you know how to do it completely? Do you know how to monetize that or otherwise? Most people don't. Unconsciously incompetent. They're even unaware of, there may be supposedly contracts that are governing your life. They may be unaware of these contracts. They may be unaware of the language that they speak in trust, the language that we speak in asset protection, the language that we speak in wealth management, the language that we speak in business in general. They've been trained traditionally to be employees. Unconscious incompetence deals with a high level of employee thought process, not entrepreneur thought process, not operator thought process. Unconscious incompetence, not trusting anybody. People say these things. They come to the Vault, they say, I don't know anybody I trust. Well, you're unconsciously incompetent. You got to know somebody that you can trust. So it's just important. Find somebody that you trust at least. So unconscious competence covers pretty much the unknown. Then we got the conscious competence. This is where people wake up and they say, oh, well, the government's making money off of my social security number and they're monetizing it internationally and all this other great stuff. And people say, oh, well, can I put my quote unquote government name inside of a business and turn it into a business? Everything is business. So they start addressing that there are levels to life, and business is one of the higher levels as opposed to being an employee. Consciously incompetent means that they're not too familiar. This is where you get a lot of them to ask a lot of the questions of how do I do it? I'm frustrated. How do I get this done? How do I transfer property? How do I change my life from public to private? These are people that are aware. They say, oh, I always knew something was wrong with the system. But it wasn't anything wrong with the system. It was just most people weren't given the full amount of information. We're in an information gap here, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this competency hierarchy states. Are we competent at a subject matter or not? So are we consciously aware that we're not competent yet? Competent meaning I don't know how to really manage a trust. I'm aware that I need to be managing things, but I'm not sure how to do it right. Consciously competent. Oh, okay. Here we go, trustees. Y'all want to know? This is for the 1 and 2, right? Level 2, they're still saying, I'm not able to do the minutes yet. Consciously competent, you do the minutes. You have a schedule. You have a system in place. And unconsciously competent. That means that you're fully vetted in trusteeship. You speak about it properly. It's not your business, it's the family business. And everything is for the benefit of the family business. It's not a personal anything in the vocabulary. The focus is for business, it's for family. So we're going to focus on the bottom 2. We're going to focus on unconsciously incompetent and consciously incompetent. Level 3 trustees can still benefit from continuous improvement and learned excellence. So feel free to reference learned excellence with the vault. Just Google or actually YouTube the vault learned excellence, and you will see that presentation. It'll be more benefit to the level 3s because it's solidifying the system. Once you have the thought process of a system in place, then in turn, that system is just getting refined continuously because you found the holy grail of a system and you're just refining it at this point. Level 4 trustees can benefit just from understanding that, hey, you're doing the right things, validation, you're doing the right things, trustees. You get so far in privacy, you wonder, who's going to make it. And it's not too many people that are in the 1% for a reason. It's not too many people in that position for a reason because you separate yourself in education and as well action. So the competency hierarchy is not a thing where people can say, oh, once I've done it, I've perfected the process. A lot of trustees and people think they need to have this perfectionist mentality. A lot of people say they have the perfectionist mentality. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have the perfectionist mentality, that is not going to help you in this environment. This environment is just about learning, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, unconscious incompetence. You are unaware of the skill and the lack of proficiency. So there are many people in these categories, ladies and gentlemen. And then we get to the conscious incompetence. You're aware of the skill, but you're not proficient yet. So people are aware that they have to have good analytical skills. They're aware that they have to have good record keeping skills. They have to have good timing skills. They have to have good tracking skills. They have to have good proficient writing skills at being aware of how to write a minute. They have to have good accountability skills, leadership skills, communication skills. These are the things that we work with trustees and actually help them do, which is leadership and communication for sure. Consciously competent, you're able to use the skill, but only with effort. And this is where we have to this is where trustees, once they go through the training for the first, 4 to 6 weeks, and then we get to about 8 weeks out. Once we get to about 12 weeks, they're consciously competent, but they still have to exude continuous effort to do the minutes. They're continuously doing it. We are working with a 3-generation family right now, and they practice scheduling meetings continuously with or without the vault being on the line. That's very, very important. They're practicing it with some effort. And in unconscious competence, they're performing the skills and it becomes automatic. So that means that, every time they get on the line, they have a set, they literally are putting the system in place. They read the mission statement first, they end it with the mission statement, they have an agenda, they have a time, they talk about who's present. These are the things that just become automatic. Then, the secretary is going to sit in the meeting, treasurer is going to sit in the meeting, these people are going to sit in the meeting. So this is not about a perfection. It's actually about progress. So there's no end to it, ladies and gentlemen. It's just about some level of pinnacle and performance. So let's address this today. What do the trustees look like? How do they talk? How do they act? So you can identify if this is you or if it's not. Unconsciously incompetent. They're unaware of their limitations at this stage. The individual is unaware of their lack of skills in this particular area. So once again, we get trustees all the time to say, oh, I don't plan on my schedule. Once again, if you're managing a family estate for multiple people and multiple generations, there will be a schedule. Unaware of your limitation. This is easy. If you don't plan a schedule for the family estate, what are you waiting for, your job? And if you're not in a job situation, we still have trustees that have to practice planning. And planning is once again the schedule in advance, you know. Lack of motivation to learn. We always talk about this. We won't skip number 2. We do need for guidance. They're not even aware that they need guidance sometimes. We sit on the line, we say, okay, you're stressed out, you got some mental challenges you got to overcome here. And they're just like, I don't know. I'm just frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. Well, that's what you need help with. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to get the same result. Number 3, lack of motivation to learn. Awareness of one's incompetency can be a powerful motivator. And so, once again, this is a very important part of the process because it's letting you know that awareness at this stage isn't really present. This is, once again, majority of the population very aware, not aware that there's a public and there's a private, and privacy will never go away, but privacy is here to stay. And public came from the private. These are things that they're very unaware of. But here we go. This is the most exciting. Everybody's been waiting to get to this stage because this is where many fall. Once again, if you want to do a divide for the bottom 2, the bottom 2 is about 50-50. So you get quite a few people that reach out to the vault and say, oh, I have a trust, but I don't know how to manage it. I have a charity. I don't know how to manage it. This is the awareness stage. They're aware, they recognize and they're aware of their lack of skills or knowledge in a specific domain. This can be realized through gap analysis. Do a gap analysis. And once again, that's what we do. That's our first assessment. That's our first conversation that we actually have with trustees. So we go over that through an assessment. Something important for, we work with our trustees. You put that in place with your family as well, where the people that will be on the team so you can assess and move forward for generations to come. Willingness to learn. This stage is characterized by the desire to improve and receptiveness to instruction and guidance. This is where they reach out to the vault. This is where they actually send over the email. The people that usually don't send over the emails, they're in the first category. They don't send over the email. They just, they listed the information. It sounded good and they may never come back. They're looking for something, but they don't know. Then you got the people that they actually are aware. They'll send over an email, and this is where they start. They're aware that they need some level of help. We get emails every single day at the vault. And we respond and we work with families. We select certain families to work with. We don't work with everybody because everybody doesn't qualify. But we do work with the families that are willing. And this is one of the requirements, one of the values that we have at the vault, which is our willingness to work with families. Vulnerability. Admitting one's incompetencies can be challenging, but it's the necessary step towards the growth and the development. So once again, the trustee, they cannot achieve self-realization without self-actualization. And this just comes from, once again, just sharing what, Trust Christian in the vault, our trustees, our system, just saying, hey, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm not good at. Even when a trustee admits that they're not great at planning, we work with them on strategies to actually help them improve that area of trusteeship, because that's all in trusteeship. It's just planning. So we're definitely excited about going over that with trustees and their families and individuals as well. Here we go. People think they jump this stage. They think they're here. But if you're here, let's hear what it sounds like. Conscious competence. This is stage 3. Once again, level 3 skill building stage. Once again, this is where trustees, once they're in the trustee training program, they are forcing themselves, which is called practice, deliberate practice. The individual actively works to develop their skills, which is planning, which is communication. They're practicing by making phone calls to raise money. When trustees reach out to the vault all the time, oh, how do I raise money for the trust? You're practicing how to raise money. If you don't know how to do it, this is the process of learning how to raise money. Increased awareness. As competencies grow, the individual becomes more and more aware of the nuances and complexities involved. That means that various different things. You're aware of how you speak. The trustee says, it's not my trust anymore. They don't say it's my it's my company, my house, my car. They let it go. Those little nuances, you become more and more aware of who you're speaking to. Incremental improvement. Progress is gradual. The individual consistently working and refining and enhancing their abilities. This once again comes from having a weekly meeting so you can measure progress. This is why when trustees say, oh, I want to skip a meeting and go to next week. Well, we're not going to work together forever, are we? And if we are, consistency is key. So let's work every single week. We start out the week, they call it a week, it's 7 days in a week. Let's start out every single week with a measurable goal and check up and see if we hit it. And even if we didn't hit it, we have to have a overcoming session, which deals with how to overcome these challenges that we were faced with over the past week. Level 4, stage 4, unconscious competence. This is where somebody has levels of effortless execution. They're able to, do minutes on the fly. They're able to, sit in a meeting and they can talk to lawyers proficiently, talk to accountants proficiently. That's a big challenge at times where trustees come in and they ask about, things, and they're just not well read on the subject, but they actually learn enough about the subject to have a conversation with those additional professionals that they're going to be working with. Intuitive decision making. This is a big one where trustees, they literally end up answering their own questions on the call a lot of the times, because a lot of the information is base and foundational. So, if a trust is a person and they can buy, sell, hold, and lease property, why do trustees still ask questions about buy, selling, holding, leasing? Because it's not at this level yet. It's not unconscious. So when it's unconsciously competent, they can make more intuitive decisions, need less one-on-ones, and they move forward with a lot more independence in thought. Continuous growth. They understand that just like at the vault, we provide actually a great continuing education program. We are, once again, the stage of 1 and 2. And then when you get deeper into the vault trustee training, you see that we, even at the vault, continuously improve our education by association. And association is how you're going to get that continuous growth as a trustee. A lot of trustees may or may not have played around with that for years. Oh, I want to go to those private wealth conferences, Trust Christian Vault. I want to go to those conferences. Continuous growth comes from those conferences, ladies and gentlemen. So how does the competency framework apply to you? That's what you can ask. Well, the question is, where are you at on the competency level? Which of these do you most relate to? You don't realize that you're not fulfilling your responsibilities? Many people don't know that, so they're unaware completely. Level 2, you know that you need to do something, but you don't know how. Get back to that word, how. Oh, how am I going to, what trust is to get into? How am I going to how do I put this in place? How long is it going to take? How do I get the right people? Number 3, you know what to do, but it takes effort to do it right. This is where you're enrolled in the program. Even at the last step, this is where you're asking to get enrolled in the program at level 2, or you're looking to enroll in the program with trustee training at level 2, or you're just getting in trustee training at level 2. Level 3, you're in trustee training, but it takes effort. You got to do the minutes. You don't want to know how many trustees come on the line every single week. Oh man, I just got to do the minute. And we say, look, schedule, plan 15 minutes to do a 15-minute diary or journal entry every day. When you get into a journal entry, you'll get into doing accountability for the trust as a trustee. Level 4, you wake up and you do everything that day and it's effortless. You live in your life privately, you speak properly, and you do properly. You sign everything properly. You're doing things as a competent trustee in a business-like manner, not in a personal-like manner. It is not consciously that you have to consciously think about it not being personal. You know deep down inside you're convicted and you're acting that way. Responsibilities and obligations of a trustee. People say, oh, what's a trustee? Well, you have a fiduciary duty. Trustees have a legal and ethical obligation to act in the best interest of the beneficiaries. Well, here we go. Most people think that they get in trust for themselves. That already lets you know you're a servant. You're a fiduciary. You're not the beneficiary. Let's get the thought process correct. Transparency. Trustees must maintain high levels of transparency in their decision-making and actions. Once again, this comes from the minutes. We got the form. Oh, I'm in trusteeship. We got the substance. That's transparency. That's us doing minutes. And yeah, writing it down, reporting it. Stewardship. Trustees are responsible for careful management and preservation of trust assets. This comes down to a few different things. Are you improving your education? Are you doing your due diligence on investments? You all don't want to know how many trustees come to us with bad investments. I mean, granted, everybody has a great investment, but trustees still come with bad investments. That's important. Those things are things to look at so you can see what not to do. But we also have to have a wise mentality. So we work with our trustees. We encourage them to read the prudent investor rule, just so they can get an idea of how do we manage assets as a trustee, and a preservation mindset as well, and a diligent mindset and responsible mindset. Number 4, accountability. Trustees are accountable to the beneficiaries and must be able to justify their decisions. Once again, this comes down to just being able to be decisive. These are skills. These are responsibilities that are involved in this whole ordeal. When people say, oh, everybody's saying, oh, I want to be in trusteeship, but then we get into the mechanics. Then we get into the nuts and bolts. Then we get into the actions. Because everybody wants to benefit, right? Right. But we're not the beneficiaries. We have a fiduciary duty for the beneficiaries, which may or may not be your children or the next generation. Competency stages for trustees. This is what it looks like. The beginner trustee is unaware of their responsibilities, limitations, requiring extensive guidance and support. That's what we provide at the vault. Aware trustees, stage 2, they recognize their knowledge gaps and are motivated to develop their competencies as a trustee. They're willing. Their student mentality. They understand we need trustee training, not just the trust and the foundation or this or that or LLC or C Corp, whatever. Skilled trustee actively builds their skills, understanding through trusteeship, through dedicated practice and learning. Once again, this is where you get the habits. Oh man, Trust Christian Vote. I was reading this. I read this case. I read these cases. Trust Christian Vote have been actively pursuing organizations that are educational. A masterful trustee, stage 4. Exhibits a deep and intuitive grasp of trusteeship, making it effortlessly and adaptive decisions. This is where you already know that as a trustee, you're the responsible party. For that reason, you are comfortable with the decisions and any consequences because you are aware of the potential downsides and the potential upsides. Unconscious incompetence. In trusteeship, this could relate to someone who is unaware of their responsibilities or obligations to manage something like a family business. People don't even think that. Oh man, I got a family, but they don't want to do meetings. This is what they say. Oh, Trust Christian Vote, they don't want to do meetings with me. Oh, my family, they don't want to do meetings. You got to start the meetings. You got to start with a system. You got to enroll in a system that shares with you a system to bring on those reluctant family members. We have reluctant family members all the time. And then they come around to the meetings because we do the workshops. People bring their wives, people bring their children, people bring their husbands. People come around in these environments with their family. They may not realize that they're not effectively overseeing and protecting their assets. Of course, there are many. This is the public. There's the difference between public and private. Private, oh, I'm aware that there's a private. I'm aware that, oh man, I don't need to own anything because that's my greatest liability. Correct. This might represent someone who recognizes their role as a trustee, but acknowledges that the lack of certain skills and knowledge, the skills of taking action, the skills of communication, or the knowledge of trusteeship and privacy to fulfill their duties effectively as a family asset protector. They understand there's a room for improvement and they're open to learning. They reach out all the time. Hey, Trust Christian Vote, I got a trust. Hey, Trust Christian Vote, I've been thinking about this. Hey, Trust Christian Vote, I just bought a house. Hey, Trust Christian Vote. Oh man, I got a business and I'm actually getting ready to sell it. Quite a few have reached out. Oh, I'm getting ready to sell a business, but I don't want to get hit with a liability. Consciously competent, they're enrolled in the program, and they say, hey, we can envision a trustee who is actively engaged in, proficient in their responsibilities. That means they've actually built a team now, Trust Christian, the Vault, they have financial advisor privately, they have a team of people that are working in trusteeship with them in their field of endeavor, and they're able to touch those people if they need to as far as contacting them. They understand their duties and perform them well, but it requires a deliberate effort and attention to detail. And it's very, very important for attention to detail with trustees, and a deliberate effort. They're definitely practicing at this point, and it's good to see that and go over this with you all. Because we're even at the vault, we could say Trust Christian, oh, we're a master. This isn't a bad place to be. This is somebody that is focused on deliberately practicing on being the best trustee that they can be. When you're unconsciously competent, in this scenario, the trustee has mastered their role to the point where their actions are almost instinctual. That means your relationships, you can pick up and call people in the private. You can pick up and call people in any field of endeavor. They fulfill their duties effortlessly. So minute meetings, having meetings with family, being able to fulfill deadlines and seamlessly, perhaps due to the years of experience and deep understanding of their responsibilities. Once again, what are people reaching out to the vault for? They're reaching out for the knowledge and the skill set on what are their responsibilities as a trustee. Many reach out with trust, ladies and gentlemen, but we're Trustee Training. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. It's not a halfway own. It's Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. So let's go ahead and recap a few different things. Level of trusteeship. Beginning trustee relies on guidance and support to understand their role and responsibilities. Hey, Trust Christian and the voter, I don't know, I need something, but what is there? I heard about this, tell me about it. That's what they reach out. I heard about this, tell me about it. Awareness, recognize their limitations and is motivated to develop these competencies. I heard about something and I also want to learn it. They all say that. A lot say that, not all, but a lot say that. I want to learn trusteeship, Trust Christian. I want to learn this. I want to learn how to protect my family assets. People say, I want to learn how to do what you do. Okay, that's an asset. That's a trustee. Skilled trustee actively builds their skills and knowledge through practice and learning. We practice trusteeship every day. We practice private trusteeship every day. Are you practicing every day? Are you signing things the right way? Are you speaking the right way? Are you practicing? That's why we have our weekly one-on-ones. That's why we have our quarterly workshops. Masterful trustee exhibits a deep intuitive understanding of trusteeship, making effective decisions. It's an honor to serve as a master trustee. We work with other master trustees, so it helps. What if you could, or what is it? What if you become unconsciously competent? Unconsciously competent, master level. And what if you don't become unconsciously competent? There could be generations. There could be many people that don't benefit. That's the benefit of doing it. If you're at level 1 or 2, the vault is here for you. That's what the program is really catered around. We saw that as a crimp in an hourglass. We saw way too many families missing out on wealth, losing capital from knowledge more than it is competence and skill set. But that skill set comes from actually being competent and being aware of what is it that you have and don't have. Feel free to reach out and subscribe to our mailing list. And if you're a level 3 or 4, you're on the right path. We look forward to hearing from you. You can feel free to reach out. We look forward to seeing you at the next webinar, July 7th, 2024. And if you want to enroll in our monthly webinar, feel free. Look forward to hearing from you. Let's become unconsciously competent. We look forward to hearing from you at the vault. The 4 levels of trusteeship. It's been an honor and a pleasure to do this presentation today. Feel free to reach out, Christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian@trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you all at the vault. Peace and joy.